Warning: the following rant video may contain strong and offensive language, which may be considered unsuitable for younger viewers. Viewers' discretion is advised.
Hi everyone, Generated Narukami here. And today, I will do rant on Action 52. And before I start this rant, I am sorry for not making any rant videos for a half months, because I was busy with my other stuff. But anyways, enjoy this rant. Action 52 is got to be one of the worst video games that I ever seen. I will tell the reasons why this game sucks in my opinion. First of all, the entire game is riddled with extremely poor games with generic to terrible gameplay, casts of characters, bad controls, and other countless flaws. It just makes me want to call this game a worthless kusoge in my opinion. Second, the 52 games in Action 52 have generic to terrible gameplay with no effort whatsoever. For an example, in Star Evil, when starting the game, an obstacle appears near the ship, which gives the player almost no time to dodge and can lose a life. In Ooze, the jumping controls are poorly programmed, and if the player holds the B button, it can lock you vertically until you let it go in order to move. In Critical Bypass, the controls can be clunky with the seizure-inducing backgrounds, making it very difficult to complete the levels. In Streamers, trying to touch the power-ups like the bag of money or magic wand which turn it into a frowning face, which is misleading. In Micro Mic, the player moves too fast, which makes it difficult to avoid the walls and enemies. In Storm Over the Desert, the tank touches anything to make them explode, whenever it's a soldier or enemy tank. In Dedant, if the enemies make it to the bottom, the player is simply doomed since it can only move left or right. In Boss, bombs fall down to the ground, which is highly hard to avoid them. Third, the graphics are absolutely horrendous and really ugly that might even be as ugly as an average pirated game on a Famiclone. They are so atrocious with ugly colors, that you might refuse to look at the game for even more than 2 minutes. Like for example, in games that scroll horizontally and vertically, the colors will change when their respective tiles appear or disappear. There are also even seizure-inducing backgrounds, notably the one that consisted of tiles with random black and white colors in Critical Bypass. This can literally cause the player's eyes to become tired after playing this game for too long due to being flashy. Fourth, the sound effects are very crappy and hideously laughable. Because the jumping sounds mostly sound like buzzes that look like an Atari 2600 game and aren't even fitting, and most of the sounds in this port are really poorly composed. Fifth, the collision detection is so poorly programmed, as most of the time, you can go through walls in platforming games or sometimes fall through them like in Crybaby. However, these don't really allow the player to cheat in a game by passing through all platforms and enemies while walking on the ceilings. Sixth, the game is very disgustingly overpriced, at ridiculously $199, which means that each game on the system would cost about $4 on average, and even such a price for a single game in Action 52 isn't worth it. And not to mention, it literally costs for a video game console, such as the SNES, which had the exact same price than Action 52. Seventh, in some games, like Star Evil, the boss doesn't show up sometimes, meaning you have to die in order and replay the level from the beginning until the boss will finally decide to show up. Which is pretty annoying, especially since you will have to lose a life if you want the boss to appear. If it doesn't, you have to do the same thing again until the boss will finally show up to progress to the next level. Eighth, a lot of games crash, mostly for stupid reasons. For an examples, Alfredo and Jigsaw are impossible to play. This is due to the fact that they always fail to load, even on emulators. This will force you to restart your NES. No matter how much you will restart the console, they will still not work. The only way to slightly lower the chances of a crash are if you have a Rev B cartridge or playing in some emulators. Another example is one of the games, Shooting Gallery, crashes the game when you try to quit it by pausing the game and hitting select, so you have to painstakingly restart your NES by pressing its reset button, similar to pausing a game on the Master System that's done by pressing the pause button, which is also situated on the console. Another game, They Came from Outer Space, also crashes the game. It crashes if you die, just to force you to restart your NES, which it quickly becomes annoying. Ooze also isn't safe from crashing. Every time you will finish level 2, the game crashes, making it impossible to complete. Streamers also has the chance of crashing when you reach a certain area of one of the levels. 9th, speaking of ooze in Reason 8th, there was also going to be a reward if someone would beat it in a contest, which is $104,000 cash, which it counts as $52,000 cash, and a scholarship with the same value, but since it crashes once they complete level 2, as mentioned in the Reason 7, it was impossible to claim the reward. This just proves that the developers have no mercy for people who played ooze on the NES. 10th, many of the games in Action 52 are repetitive. A notable example is that a majority of these games are mediocre space shooters, just with different backgrounds, level design, enemies, music, and other stuff. This is just to prove that Active Enterprises, the developers of the game, were just unoriginal, since it contains a lot of space shooters, like if you would say that this should have been called Shooter 52 or Shooting Games 52, since there's at least 11 space shooters in it, or around 21% of the games. 11th. No games on the compilation would allow you to continue playing after getting a game over. Many NES games allow players to continue playing from the level they got game overed without having to start from the beginning or use passwords for game checkpoints, but Action 52 itself doesn't allow players to do so. To make it worse, there are even games that are so hard to complete that it requires luck to get past a level sequence, making it irritating as players would have to start from the first level of each game again if they get a game over. 12th. Upon completing all levels in a game, instead of giving a congratulations screen, it sends you back to level 1 and the game continues until the player gets a game over or quits the game. This shows a sign of Active Enterprises' laziness. 13. The game is known for plagiarism and infringement of copyright, like for example, the Yahoo drum break, used for the game's title screen, is actually taken from It Takes Two by Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. Since this is a copyrighted song, this could have resulted in Active Enterprises getting sued by the copyright holders, though this will most likely never happen due to Active Enterprises being defunct since at least 1993. Also, several songs were plagiarized from the music studio for the Atari ST. 14. The Cheetahman recycles characters from the other games to make them into enemies, including Saddam Hussein, the enemies from Ooze but recolored, and the protagonist of Haunted Hills, mostly due to Action 52 being rushed to be finished in only 3 months as proposed by the game's director Vince Perry himself. 15. In some games, like Star Evil, the boss doesn't show up sometimes, meaning you have to die in order and replay the level from the beginning until the boss will finally decide to show up. Which is pretty annoying, especially since you will have to lose a life if you want the boss to appear. If it doesn't, you have to do the same thing again until the boss will finally show up to progress to the next level. 16. The game has grammatical errors and typos, despite being made in the United States. And 17. The introduction screen is so laughably bad, as it's nothing more than a lights, camera, action type of intro, except that the text is replaced with lights, camera, action 52. Also, this intro is so poorly animated, and it will glitch up a bit when trying to change backgrounds. Thank God that I will never play it, and I never will, or else it would waste my time. Anyways, I don't know who likes this game, but do you know who hates this game? James Rolfe, better known as the Angry Video Game Nerd. He made a review on this game back in 2011, and he also wished that this game should be illegal to sell for any ultimate price. So, Action 52 sucks. And so does Hong Kong 97. Super Mario World is so many times better than Action 52. End of rant. My next rant is on double rant, ZinZin Animate and CyansWorldCartoon. After double rant, Superman 64. After Superman 64 rant, clickbait videos. And after clickbait videos rant, Louie 95. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching. And this is me, signing off.